I'm sure you wonder, what's it like working with this guy? Well, we've got a spectacular young man's, how to put it, exploitation program at the Independence Institute, and I want you to meet a couple of victims from Zimbabwe, because we have to go all the way to Zimbabwe to find him. Grant Mandigora, glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Jon.
Actually, you're a student at Yale.
That's right.
All right, how did you find us?
I Googled you.
I've always wanted that. I'm very flattered. All right, Micah Fleck from Columbia.
Yes.
Not the country.
No.
Not the country.
No.
All right. And how did you find us?
I actually was Googling, but I was Googling for Penn Jillette, unfortunately, and I found your video with Penn Jillette. So.
Because he was on this program.
Correct. Yes. So the first exposure to II was you, good sir.
Wow.
Yes.
Now that's the way to do it. All right. Now listen. The only school I could really pass would be like a bartending school. So to have a Yaley and a guy from Columbia, it's interesting. You guys have spent the summer at the Independence Institute as interns.
Yes.
And it has been the most rewarding, incredible experience of your life, right?
Yes.
Yes,
of course.
that's
Yes.
good. All right. I'm curious. So you obviously had libertarian leanings. You see Penn Jillette here.
Yes.
And why did you decide to haul out here and spend the summer working with us?
Well, the education program, actually, education policy. I'm a big fan of things like school choice and individualized learning because I have a pretty unusual educational background myself. So I kind of want to get into that after my graduate studies and actually hopefully can affect some public policy, open up more pathways for students.
Talk a little bit about your path, because I find this, here you are in Columbia,
Right.
which I hear is an okay school.
It's all right.
It's okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but, how are their cheerleaders?
To be honest, the football stadium is ways away, blocks away, unfortunately, so I never got to go to a game. I was too busy studying, being a good boy.
I don't want to have anything to do with you two.
I know.
If you're representing what we do, it's awful. No, tell me about this story, because I find it pretty fascinating.
Sure. So I was homeschooled as a little kid, and then I had some family shakeups, and I ended up having to go to real school.
Real school.
Yeah, which
Respectable government school.
right, because in West Virginia there aren't a lot of school choice options, so I had to go to this recently amalgamated public school, just a giant. And I got lost in the shuffle. I didn't learn anything.
How old?
14.
Okay.
Yeah, and I hadn't really had a lot of social exposure before then either, so it was actually a pretty wild experience. I thank it for that because it actually turned me into who I am today, and I turned out all right, right?
Yes, you have,
Thank
young
you,
man.
thank you,
yes.
thank you. So that didn't work out, not because I couldn't do the work, but because I wouldn't conform to how they wanted me to do it. Alter standardized testing. And I had gotten used to being an individualized learner at that point. So I dropped out.
Dropped out of high school?
I dropped out of high school, yeah.
And now you're in Columbia. You're a high school dropout.
Yeah. I went on to teach myself for years afterwards before I was sure that I wanted to go back to college, because I figured I want to make sure that I want to know what I want to do before I actually invest in college. So it was a bit of a wild ride. But then once I finally decided to go back to school, I got my GED, high school equivalent. Went to community college first, just to try it out and see if I liked it, and had a lot of success there. And somehow I was able to transfer to Columbia to finish my degree.
But what did that teach you about education, particularly choice?
Well, it taught me that there is no standardized brain, there is no standardized learner, and we all learn in different ways, and therefore more pathways should be easier to obtain, I think, for kids, especially nonconformist learners like me, because we can succeed if we're given the option.
Well, also today with so many electronic choices, so much technology in your generation, you're used to a massive amount of choices in everything.
Yes.
Except government-run education. I'll bring it here. You're getting a doctorate in what?
Masters.
Masters.
A master's in global affairs, but my focus is on energy policy.
Why? Is there energy in Zimbabwe?
There's some, but definitely not enough. And I think that we've had problems ever since I was young with electricity, where you'd have blackouts for days on end, and grown up knowing what it's like to not have power, and a lot of it is policy. There's a lot of policies that aren't right and aren't aligned, and that's caused a lot of issues.
Well, so what did you learn over the summer? I mean, because here you are in Colorado doing energy policy as an intern. What did you learn?
What didn't I learn? I think this has been probably the best 2 months I've had in the last couple of years, simply because it's been a crash course in how things really work. It's been a crash course in understanding how complex policy making is. I think there's so many different trade-offs you have to make whenever you're coming up with policies. But I think this particular program has given me an opportunity to see what those look like. And of course, the biggest issue in Colorado, which is around freedom of choice.
What do you mean, freedom of choice in energy? Because you did a wonderful little Freedom Minute for us, but what are you talking about on choice? What have you learned?
Well, I think the issue is that there is no choice in Colorado, so consumers basically can't choose who provides them with power. And they're stuck with one person, one company, should I say. And of course, that's a problem because you can choose everything else, but why can't you choose that?
It is amazing here that we get to choose our phone company. We get to choose our internet provider. We get to choose our dentist. We get to choose all these things that once were monopolies. But on electricity, power, you got one place to go.
That's
and
right.
for most of us in the metro area, it's Excel. That's a monopoly, and we're paying for it. Other states, you get to choose, right?
That's right. Texas, Illinois, New York.
You go online, you say, I like their costs, or I like that they do more wind energy, for whatever you like.
Exactly.
All right.
But not Colorado.
Talk to me about what you learned about the Independence Institute. Now that you've got a couple months under it, it's a pretty schlocky organization.
It's probably one of the most welcoming, laid-back environments I've been in a really long time, actually.
It's because we're mostly drunk.
Well, we don't talk about that.
Well, we do talk about that because that really, if we tried to be a fraternity house, how would we fare with the places on campus?
Pretty close.
Pretty close?
Pretty close.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
not bad.
close, yeah.
By the way, you're at Yale. Is there any skull and crossbones kind of organizations you're going to build for us?
I'll let you know.
Do you think you guys are unusual for your age? That here, both of you from completely different worlds are drawn to the same place for different issues, but the same overriding theme, which is choice. Give me the choice to make my own decisions in education. Give me the choice to make my own decisions in where I get my electricity. And you both end up here. Are you guys unusual given your age?
I think more people in our age range, millennials and younger, probably are more in favor of choice than they realize. But I think that they've gotten so used to being caught up in the system, the status quo as it currently is, they probably don't realize that they are as limited as they are in a lot of ways.
So are they like you and they just don't know it?
I think a lot of them are, yeah.
Really?
I do.
Go outside the country, because you can help me more in places like Zimbabwe, which now, have they fixed the currency in Zimbabwe? Because I've got in my office hundreds of billions of Zimbabwe dollars. Is that over with now?
Yeah, it's over. Now we're using the US dollar.
No, all that means is it's all going to happen again. That's all that means.
Pretty much.
All right. So all the way from Zimbabwe, do people in Africa, do they understand what you're understanding and asking the same questions? Or are you just an aberration?
I think that there's a growing number of people that do. And I think a lot of people that aspire for choice across the board come to America, because I think this is like the beacon for a number of people. This is the place where people are like, hey, you've got choice, you've got good schools, you've got a good business environment. There's so many good things at least from an outside perspective about, America. But I think, people are slowly awakening to the fact that there are choices. But a lot of us have grown up in environments and systems where there's very little choice, and we don't like it. And that's why we come here, because we want choice. We want to be able to choose what we want to do and not be, fixed to a certain path.
So being thrown into the middle of policy in a state like Colorado, is your image of what the United States was when it comes to choice accurate from what you were thinking about from Zimbabwe?
Probably not.
In what way?
Well, I think having found out in Colorado that you can't choose, your energy provider, I've been surprised. I wasn't expecting that. I assumed that it was a given, and yet it's actually not. And it's because of policy.
All right, we've got about a minute left here. Tell me what was the worst thing about interning, being part of our Future Leaders program? What stunk?
Honestly, nothing.
Come
Seriously.
on.
No, seriously.
Listen, we take a lot of pride in our sexual harassment, and I mean, thank you for not filing a claim. You know,
Of course.
there's a lot of handsy women there, but you know, was it? Come on, what was bad?
The fact that I can't stay longer.
You can stay longer. You can give us free labor as long as you like. Here you are screaming about choice, and now you're saying I can't stay longer. Forget you. All right, what was the worst thing?
The coffee. It was the coffee. Definitely the
Definitely
coffee.
coffee. What about the booze?
I actually never got to Subway any, which is,
You're kidding me.
yeah, pretty shocking, I must
Well,
say.
we needed a designated driver somewhere. Grant, thank you. Micah, thank you. Listen for me on KHOW Radio. Read me in the Denver Post. Tell a friend about the Independence Institute. We need more fresh meat. We'll see you next week.